So as many of you know, the MDv Plus One is my personal designed EDC carry. It is meant for a number of different scenarios, and it is the fixed blade that I advise when people ask me which blade they should carry. But one of the biggest critiques that I get with the MDv is the blade length. The thought process that at just over 3 inches, it is too small to be effective, and it is too small to hit quote unquote vitals. And so in today's video, I want to have an honest conversation about why the blade length is the way it is, and my thoughts on whether or not 3 inches is big enough. Whoa, stop the intro. We don't even need to do a big video about this because I fully agree with everybody that says the MDv Plus One's too small. I don't even carry the damn thing. When I walk around, because I have a concealed weapons license, I carry this thing. Because when you need it, you need to be able to hit those vitals, no matter how chonky that person is. So if they're 700 pounds, I am going to be able to get to the heart and to the liver. And so for those of you that want to stand out and wear trench coats everywhere, even when it's summertime, you can carry something like this. For the rest of us, well, you're going to need something that's a little bit more practical. Let's get back into that intro because this is obviously a joke. A lot of the utility of this blade, the potential of its uses, are not going to be realized by the majority of people who carry the blade. The personnel that I was training and is training right now on a regular basis, it's where the majority of my work goes, is special forces and special operations within the United States military. And what I specialize in is counter ambush courses. I teach them to go to foreign countries, try to blend in, and then when they get ambushed and they are about to be captured, how to survive that scenario and come home safely. And so when shit's going bad and their teammates are dying and they're injured and they're trying to escape and evade, how do you actually create damage on people as violently as possible to get home? That's what I teach. And so the personnel that I train are highly skilled, and they are also gun guys. That is also why there is no handle on this blade. Why? Because most people that I train always carry a concealed pistol. That is their primary weapon of choice. They're gonna carry a pistol. If this knife gets in the way of this pistol, they are not gonna carry the knife. I needed them to be able to have something in their hand, and then if they needed to, be able to draw their pistol and be able to shoot, as silly as this looks, if they needed to, because their safe haven is a firearm. And so the knife is just a secondary utility for them. I also needed to make sure that the knife wasn't large enough that when they actually draw their pistol and they go into a shooting position, their traditional grip is perfect. It is not in some sort of flashlight and pistol position that you normally see, because the knife is too damn big to actually get a decent purchase on your pistol. And so this had to be small enough so that those that are fully competent and highly trained in pistol work would get their perfect grip, lock in, and the knife itself would not interfere with that. And so the idea was that yes, some people would be carrying this as a primary, but this is usually for my personnel just an option when a knife or a blunt trauma tool is more appropriate than some sort of ballistic option like a pistol, or even using your hands, because you can do more damage with a knife faster than unarmed. Obviously, most people that have a problem with the length of the blade and the design of this knife are those that train in knife arts, and they have an idea of having a primary knife as their go-to weapon, and that's what they do. And so That's not the personnel that I was working with. The other thing is that I have people that have issue with it because they don't have the resident skills that this knife was originally designed for. Now, this knife has all of the capabilities of a good EDC knife, in my opinion. But remember, it was designed for individuals that were highly trained in unarmed combat, in edge weapon combat, and in firearms. And so their ability to transition between one to the other is a capability upon themselves. So that also means that their mindset and their ability to create scenarios is a little bit different than the average person. So when I say I want them to be able to draw the knife, place their finger directly on the side, that's why it's not double-edged, and then get close enough and snap cut somebody's face, that is obviously something that they would be able to do. If I told them that the entire job of this blade is to get inside and then start to drag across areas of the body that is accessible medically with 3 inches of blade, they can do that. The average person that would carry a fixed blade for personal defense would only be using this for very, very defensive scenarios. Whether you like it or not, this design was focused on individuals that would be using this for offensive and defensive capabilities, using it in complex scenarios that the average person would not be able to do because they are not used to that type of stress. And so that is the design of this blade. It's very important that when you take a look at certain things, you understand who it was designed for. And a lot of times I find that the people that are critiquing, they don't fit the original mold of who it was designed for. I never stated that this was an every person EDC blade. I did state that this would be a feasible EDC option in comparison to most that I see that are out there. As far as the 3-inch blade is concerned, let's talk about the medical feasibility of actually doing enough damage to stop a violent attack that is meant to cause great bodily harm to you or has lethal intent, because that's the only time you should be using a blade anyways, and so we need to talk about that. All right, so on the Elite U, we are going to be releasing a virtual training course where I rely on the medical expertise of somebody that is a professional in that field. And we talk about uses of an edge weapon and the type of damage that can happen on the entire anatomy, talking about lethal applications with an edge weapon, as well as non-lethal uses. I'm talking about this because I am not going to state that my knowledge on the medical side is backed by my schooling, but I rely on medical professionals to validate what I talk about. The thing is that with a 3-inch blade, for the self-defense scenarios that are most prevalent from what our experience is, you are just trying to shut down the capability of the person in front of you. And that can be one person or multiple people. And the thing is that no, I am not trying to bury the blade to the side of the body, trying to hit the heart from the side, or in turn hit something that is in the very center of the body. I am trying to shut down this person's ability to function in a violent manner. And so when my life is on the line, or there's great bodily harm applied to me or the person that's using the knife, if I reach forward, grab their hand, slam the blade into their hand, and then cut that directly out, 3 inches of blade is definitely enough to do that, and that would shut down their arm. Me driving this directly into their shoulder and destroying their capability of using their arm, 3 inches is enough for you to bury that blade into that. Cutting that out is going to cause a high likelihood of them bleeding out. If I bury the blade into their neck and start to rotate out, the amount of damage that would be done there is highly prevalent to stop the fight. That's a timer, so in turn what happens is it will take time for that to take place. You can hit the femoral artery from the inside of the thigh with this type of blade by burying it. This is meant to be used in a close proximity. This is not meant to do a tag thing. If I was on the ground and being stomped on by multiple people, me grabbing someone's leg and burying this into their Achilles tendon and cutting out, definitely long enough to do that. How much of this blade do you believe you would need to bury through their eye socket before they decide that whatever they were attacking you for previously just isn't worth it? If you are in that murdery thought process of hitting vitals, the thing is that once you shut down their anatomy, you can go in a direction that isn't legal, and you can bury the blade in their unconscious person and then stomp on this, and it will drive through deep enough to hit whatever vital you're looking for. If I were to cut the inside of their neck and then bury the blade inside of that wound that I created, and then use my fist, a hammer fist, strike that all the way through, I guarantee that this is going to bury deep enough that it's going to cause him an issue. Depending on your intent, this blade will cover the majority of it. It is designed to be concealed in your hand. It is designed to cause massive trauma. It is designed so that when you stab someone, it's not going to get ripped out of your hand because of the no choil. There's a lot of features on this. You can also use this for non-lethal purposes by having the sheath on this for striking, eye gouging, and manipulation, if you're so skilled to do those types of things. As far as the length of the blade, 3 inches is more than enough to cause massive trauma and to kill people. I do understand that there are certain targets that are going to be off limits. And so just like any intelligent person, don't try to hit those targets. Find alternate targets that are designed for this. Or, how about this? Carry a different knife. The people that carry this knife, they are carrying it for the purposes that this fulfills. They're obviously not carrying it to do things that it's not designed to do. And so that is my answer directly to the fact that you're going to say that 3 inches isn't long enough to do damage. Can easily be tested. I can have somebody come out and I'll take the blade and I'll slow, and then you can demonstrate how that wouldn't affect you and that it needs to be longer. But for the most part, people that have common sense and have a little bit of understanding of the anatomy, they understand that this is meant for EDC. I am going to design a fighting blade. This knife here is just meant to create space to get to a better option. But I understand that there is a desire to have a concept of a blade that I would have if I wanted to use it for fighting purposes. And I have that design already done. So look forward to that in the next 8 to 12 months. That's my next design. With violent intent, with understanding what you're doing, you can take a very small weapon and cause massive trauma when utilized properly. It doesn't matter what tool you are carrying. Make sure that you have the resident skill and you have the willingness to use that in a violent scenario, and I guarantee you that most weapons are going to serve you well. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.